Good morning. We are in Exodus 25, verse 15. Exodus 25, verse 15. King James Version, Holy Bible. The staves shall be in the rings of the ark. They shall not be taken from it. Okay. And thou shalt put into the ark, and thou shalt put into the ark the testimony which I shall give thee. Okay, so that's kind of interesting how when they made the carrying poles, but they're meant to be stayed in there, even though they don't have to be. They're just left in there. That's kind of interesting. I'm getting something out of this from that. So it's a ark. You might say to yourself, "What is the ark?" You know, why? Well, it's a lot of stuff, but it's a house of God. That's what they're building, is a place for God, a memorial thing. But they're gonna put the Ten Commandments in there, and they're gonna put the bowl of manna, and they're gonna put the Aaron's budded staff is in there too. Okay, so there's gonna be a lot of stuff in there. As far as specifically whether it's going to be God in there himself, I'm not sure on the technicalities. But I know on top of it, they have a mercy seat. It's pretty wild, all the stuff that goes into this, but we're going to examine this. I've examined it before, but it's never too late or too long. It's never a bad look to reacquaint yourself with this stuff. This is the Holy of Holies. This is the most God you're going to get in this world besides the Christ. So forgive me, Lord, if I'm not speaking about these things with enough reverence. But that's the kind of stuff we're dealing with here. And it's just the little details that go into this. Like, okay, you build the carrying hooks, you fashion them. Okay, then you build staves. The staves go into the rings, like they're ready to carry, but they stay in. They don't come out, even though they're removable, but they don't. And that's an image to me of almost like, okay, yeah, we have free will, but guess what? We stay in action mode. You know what I mean? We have free will, but guess what? We're always on the go. We're always in go mode because that's what we see here. Yeah, you can put the staves down on the ground, but why? They fit right in. They fit right in the holes, and it looks pretty like that. So that's why they stay in. And I think I'm getting the right thing out of this because, yeah, we're always in go mode, or supposed to be. We're always in the right position because that's really the better position. When it comes time to go, you don't look for the staves. No, the staves are already in there, even though they're removable. They're removable. They're removable. They just slide right in and right out, just like anything. They're removable. What do? They stay in. It says it right here. They stay in. And yes, I think I'm extracting the right amount of stuff from this. You might say, yeah, well, why? Yeah, period. So I'm just trying to get the maximum amount of extraction from this. At the same time, not stepping out of bounds, because we want to be like one of those NFL players going for that touchdown with the toes in. We want to want to make the play. At the same time, we just want to make the play as effective as possible. At the same time, we're staying in bounds. Okay, that's what we're trying to do here in life, with as much glory and grace as we can, because we know where it goes to Him up there. Now, I didn't want to get too off track, but all right. As we're looking at this stuff, seemingly, just like, you never know where you see principles, connections. You never know where you find meaning that you can get meaning out of. That can be this big aha moment from just regular stuff like this. So that's how you know God's talking to you. Okay. Well, you might say to yourself, well, why do you extract that meaning out of them believing the staves in? I don't know. Why do you build a box and call it and throw all this stuff inside of it? And say leave the staves in it. The staves are meant for carrying. If it's not being carried, take the staves out. People could trip on it, clamber on it. All kind of stuff could happen with them staves in it. No, they're leaving the staves in. I'm paying attention to every detail. I don't care if we even get past that point today. Because everybody has their own ideology of where stuff can come from. Oh, you can't draw meaning from that. You can't draw meaning from that. Oh, okay, well, there you are. You've officially set the boundary for your own advancement. You decided what's normal. You decided where information can come from. You decided if God can talk to you. You decided all of this. Well, I guess you're dead. You're spiritually dead. You're literally waiting on your carcass. You're waiting on whatever's going to happen to you. Me? No. I like to think I'm like a tree planted, growing. Going to grow up, bear fruit. Going to have forests come out. Forests are going to come out, and we're going to feed chipmunks. We're going to do all kind of amazing things with these forests. But I'm just a tree. And who knows what can happen. So that's where I'm at with my spirituality and everything like that. And I don't care how off track this sounds, I'm officially going all in. I'm going all in. I'm all in. All right, so moving on. And thou shalt put into the ark the testimony which I shall give thee. 17. And thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And thou shalt make 2 cherubims of gold of beaten works. Thou shalt make 2 cherubims of gold of beaten work. shalt thou make them in their two ends, in the two ends of the mercy seats. Okay. 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 So this is a mercy seat. What we're basically seeing here is, well, I don't want to speak too much on it because it's really deep. But you have officially entered into the things of God at this point. Nothing gets mercy, okay, except whatever God made have to be mercy. Now the mercy seat, that symbolizes to me that just about anything can get up there on it. I say that metaphorical, like it's a mercy seat. It's a seat it's not anybody's specific seat. It's a seat. And whoever gets up there is going to get mercy. And that's a big symbol for me of, of course, the Christ, it's not it's designed for it to be a mercy seat. Okay. It's indiscriminate. It's not the word I'm looking for. It's not prejudice. It's a mercy seat. You get up there, I guess you're going to have mercy. I mean, I don't know how it works, but that's in the line of when you're trying to just basically look at it and what its function is. It's designed to be a mercy seat for, I guess, anybody. And that's an image of the Christ, because anybody can come to the Christ, I think. So okay, the mercy seat. And thou shalt make 2 cherubims of gold of beaten work. Shalt thou make them in the 2 ends of the mercy seat. Okay. And this is important to meditate on this, because let me read this again. And make 1 cherub, verse 19, on the one end, and the other cherub on the other end, even of the mercy seat shall ye make the cherubims on the 2 ends thereof. Now, for one, cherubim and seraphims have been ancient mythological creatures, or heavenly divine creatures. Yeah. So, but this mercy seat is something else. It's not just functioning. You have like, okay, if the cherubim and seraphim are symbolic here, then when we get there, if we're in the mercy of Christ, there's actually like heavenly creatures guarding us from God himself. I don't know how that works, but all I know is that we're saved, but there's actually a technical function being performed there to keep us from in that mercy. It's kind of like when the Garden of Eden was blocked, there was a flaming sword and an angel there, I think. But there's always like some type of function that's completing this. I think. So I'm just looking at different things. And the cherubims shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, and their faces shall look one to another toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubims be. So it's almost like they're blocking out sunlight, in a sense. I mean, in a sense. Okay. And it's not the first time I've heard of this type of parallel that I'm making. Um, because to be seen by God is instant scorching. Maybe not in this particular thing, but light and God is very common, parallel. But with the cherubims and their wings spread on high, there's no light getting in, so they're protected. Whatever's there. I'm just speaking from a I'm not saying that's literally how this works. I'm just showing you how this could potentially work, so that they can't be seen. Whatever's in between the cherubim, in a sense. Yeah. The cherubim are blocking it with their presence. So the cherubim are actually literally blocking any view. They're hiding whatever's in there. So I'm trying to show you it's more than just they're protecting you. No, they're really blocking you with their presence from whatever, seeing you, judgment, or whatever it is. So it's not like God is just saying, "Oh, you're good." No, God is actually putting up a blinder so He can't see you. Okay, it's important that we look at this stuff. So He's putting up a blinder so that He can't see you. Because if He sees you, you're as good as done. He's got to remember, that's I've got that over there because I designed it for that mercy. Okay, it's not like He just wants to. It's not like He's just looking at you and said, "Oh, I have mercy." No, He's in the mercy area. It's in the mercy area, so that's left alone. So God is not without fairness. Okay. But you should be seeing from this that, because He went to such great lengths and He had to do all this just to have that mercy area, it should be a red flag for you that, wow, God doesn't play. He's really righteous. Yeah, exactly. That's what you should be getting from this. God is really righteous that He has to go through all this to have that accomplished where they're in the place of mercy. Okay, God has a mercy seat. So, yep. So the goal is here that when we read all the stuff and you look at enough of this stuff, you're going to say, whoa, yeah. And you're going to see something that's going to whip you into the shape you need to be in. Because it can happen several different ways. For me, it's happened multiple ways. For me, I have to go out into the world and see for myself. I have to study. I have to fall down and get back up. All these things that are having to take place, I think, so that I can actually see what's actually going on. And then I'll be properly motivated enough so that I can actually make the right actions and put my staves in my places and leave them in there like I'm supposed to. Because the way I was living, my staves are just off in the corner somewhere. I don't really believe something's going to come. I don't really think I need God's mercy. I don't really think all this stuff. But if I'm actually in a position that's proper, then I'll have my staves in my position and I'll be ready. And that I do have a mercy, and that God's mercy is real, but it's not just any kind of old mercy. Okay. So I'm to the point now where I don't care how good or bad these videos are. I'm just going to throw them out there because I'm fed up. I'm fed up with the world. I'm fed up with everything. So I think I will shorten down the videos a lot. I mean, it's 22 minutes now. Maybe I'll go to 25 minutes. Maybe I'll go to 30. Really ready to quit now. You know. "21. And thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark, and in the ark thou shalt put the testimony that I shall give thee. And there I will meet with thee." 22. "And I will commune with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubims which are upon the ark of the testimony, of all the things which I will give thee in commandment unto the children of Israel." Now, there's a word called the Shekinah. It's basically a little ball of light, and it's supposed to be God's presence. And I think when they talked, but it would be between the cherubim above the mercy seat. The Shekinah, the glory of God. I think it's the Shekinah. Not sure, but that's the image of, in between, on the Ark of the Covenant, above it, that's where God would be, in between the cherub, speaking with them, or whatever, whenever he did that, or always. I'm not sure, but you would say, hey, that's God, because you could see it. You could see the actual glory of this blinding light in between those two cherubs in the center of the ark. So it was very apparent what was going on here. Yeah, I want to say it's Shekinah, which means in Hebrew, I think, the glory of God, that little ball of light that's glimmering. I don't know how little it was, the size of a fist, the size of a finger. I don't know what it was, the size of a softball, but it was noticeable, and it was there. And I believe that without a shadow of doubt that actually happened. Okay, so so we're done for the day. Didn't want to make the video today, but here I am. Made it anyway. So guys, we're done. We're in Exodus 25 verse. So we're in verse 23, 25. We're slowing down. We're taking a new approach, and we're covering this stuff. And I want to make sure that we're using the utmost reverence, which I haven't been. I want to apologize to God for that we haven't been using the utmost reverence. But I tell you, we're not at a place by doing this. It's good that we're doing this, or that I'm doing this, because, like I said, anybody that said, and I always have to have my doubts. I always have to be a skeptic, but I just would love to hear how this stuff doesn't mean anything, how this isn't real. I would love to hear it. I'm sorry, it just doesn't add up. And that's my job here, to address the skeptical side. I have to do that here. It's not adding up. Sorry. It's not adding up by a long shot. It's just not adding up, and it's so ridiculous that it's not adding up that I can't even voice a fraudulent. I can't even give you a line of reasoning that doesn't even sound like it's a fraud or whatever. I can't even come up with something that sounds even halfway reasonable because it's so blatantly obvious that it's not. But it would go something like this. It would say that this box was a fraud, and they carried it around and stuff and did all this detail, but it really had nothing about it that was anything supernatural. It's just so ridiculous to hear that side of the story but that's how it has to go. It has to go like that. The fake side of this story has to go like that. But that isn't right. That's not true. But I have to hear both sides of the story to realize that that's not true. See? Now y'all have a good day. We're on YouTube. We're on YouTube at Preach Facts. We're on TikTok at Preach Facts 7. That side of the story is not true. But that's how in order for this not to be true, that has to be true. This is either one of two things. This is either God's instructions. Jesus Christ is real. He resurrected from the dead. We're headed to judgment. Or this box was fake. Matter of fact, they made up the whole story and the box never existed. Or they made it up and it had no supernatural powers. There was no... I'm sorry, guys. It's not adding up. Not by a long shot. Not even remotely close. This is why this stuff is never talked about. I'm telling you here that that's not the case. Here on Preach Facts, we're taking this thing at its whole value. We're taking this at face value that this is what it says it is. 100%, 120%. For one, God cannot lie. Number two, you got to use your common sense to say this could never happen. The little details, leaving the staves in, all of this. Sometimes you just have to use your common sense and say this is not made up. But me being the skeptic, I'm always going to let that tape play through. This is part of real faith for me, so that I can say, wow, okay, this really is real. That's part of my faith. It's not just in the corroborating people, places, things. No, it's in the details. Some stuff you just have to have a sense to say, wow, this isn't made up. Sorry, it doesn't happen. So that's where we're at today. I'm living my life like it today. And we're done. Have a good day. We're on YouTube at Preach Facts. We're on TikTok at Preach Facts 7.